Alright, so we should be recording now. I just want to make the video today about my trade recaps for today because I felt like today was a pretty good day trading wise, like with the trades I take and with my strategy, right? So I just wanted to go over that. So let's start by going over my trade. My first trade today, right? 6 a.m. 4-hour candle opens at 6 a.m. right? I trade the 4-hour PF3. So the first thing we're looking for is at 6 a.m. right? So right here, this candle 6 a.m. opens. That's the first candle of that 4-hour, that new 4-hour candle, right? So I'm trying to find manipulation, right? We enter this consolidation zone down here, and then we manipulate down. We manipulate down here, right? We retest back up, right? So we got that initial manipulation of that first 4-hour, right? And then we get this big breakout. Now I'm looking for my entry, right? So I draw out my OTE zones from the bottom of that breakout to the top of that breakout, right? I'm looking to enter off the 0.75 just because it's right inside that nice 50% of that gap. We blow straight past it, right? So I don't enter there immediately because we just inverse that gap, right? We come back, we open this candle, we come back up, we inverse both of these, right? So now that we inverse that, I'm waiting for like a retracement, a pullback to enter. We pull back in this 1-minute candle, I enter, and then I ride it out. And so originally my take profit was at this negative 2.5 zone. But we passed it and I just started trailing my stop, and then I got stopped out right on this candle right here. So it really is like right here on this first down candle I got stopped out. So that was that first trade. So literally all it was, that new 4-hour candle opens, this accumulation, this manipulation, right? We had this whole manipulation leg, the breakout, retest, and then target my standard deviation levels. All right. Now the second trade I took was right here. It was off this 10 a.m. open, right? We see this manipulation to the upside. The manipulation looks better on the 5-minute. You can see it's very clear. All right, we see this 10 a.m. candle open. We see go down. We manipulate. We retake the 4-hour high, right? And then once we retake that high, right? Obviously, we're super stretched out here, right? We're gonna need some type of correction. Super stretched out. We just took hourly highs. We took hourly external liquidity, right? Or we took hourly internal liquidity. We just filled this. We had just finished filling this huge gap, right? And we just inversed this big gap. Took this, right? We almost came up to here, and we took this 1 hour, but we didn't take this high yet. But we just grabbed all this liquidity, right? We created. We didn't create. I'm trying to think. This is 10 a.m. open, right? So this is that 10 a.m. hourly candle, right? So this is the candle I'm looking at. We just swept all this external liquidity here. We swept this internal fair value gap over the past day, right? And if we take a look at the 4-hour, not the 4-minute. If we take a look at the 4-hour, we can see we just took this liquidity up here. We took all this we took these internal, there aren't any internal gaps, but we just took all these gaps. So I was thinking, all right, we're super extended this 6 a.m. 4-hour. We just filled, we just took all this liquidity up here, or this liquidity right here, right? We're due for a little drawback, right? So now I'm going into the 5-minute. I'm sitting here 10 a.m. waiting for some type of manipulation. We manipulate up to the upside. Then what I'm looking for now is I'm looking for an entry point, right? Some type of entry. So what do? We get we get this breakdown, right? Well, obviously changing structure, we get this break, we inverse this gap. We didn't break below this low yet, but we broke below this one and inverse that gap, right? So I draw my OTE levels. Bang, bang to this low. Bang, we fill 0.618, fill that zone. Get this stop right above this 0.786 zone, because basically what it is with this OTE entry, if it goes past that, you're cooked. So the trade's basically over. So just put your stop there, right? We let it ride out. I'm targeting these -2 zones because we have this liquidity lying right here, and then we have all these gaps down here, right? So that was another thing that was making me lean towards my bearish bias, because we were so extended right here from 9:30 a.m. open, right? So extended, we were looking for some type of correction down, right? So I get in off that OTE entry. We're riding down, we're riding down, we're riding down. As soon as we close past these, I went ahead and put my stop break even to eliminate that risk. And then as we start running down to this -1, I take my partials, right? This first big gap and this first low, we just took all that. I take my partials right here. I move my stop down. I'm pretty sure I put it at these lows, like to stop in my stop in profit, right? Then we come lower, right? We take these once again. We're filling this gap, this last gap, right? So I come and put my stop in profit right here at this this high, and at this point my teacher was like, "Dude, put your Chromebook away." So I had to put my Chromebook away. I had it like propped open under my desk, and I get back on and I see that I have been stopped out in profit right here by this candle. So that was a nice little win. Once again, we have this accumulation, this manipulation to the upside. We get this breakdown, OTE entry on this drawback to these zones from the top of that move to the bottom. Enter, target our standard deviation zones, and then got stopped out due to trailing stop, which was nice because then it reversed. So really all it wanted were these gaps, and didn't want that low, right? So now what's our next 4-hour candle? Or not even next 4-hour candle. We see this huge consolidation right through here, right? I'm fresh off that nice little buffer that I got off of that partial and the stop and profit, right? And this trade, so we're up for today. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to try and force anything, but if I see a nice setup, obviously I see this consolidation right out of that stop and profit. I see this nice consolidation. We're reacting off of this nice off this big move. We're reacting off this push, or off this internal liquidity. So after we're targeting internal liquidity, what's the next target? External liquidity, right? So we see this accumulation. I see this manipulation down right here. It looks weird because I haven't marked on the 5-minute. We see this accumulation, this manipulation move down right here, right? We see, now I got to go back to the 1 minute to show y'all my entry. Holy, I got to get good at this so it's easier for y'all to watch. All right, we see this accumulation, this manipulation leg right here. We see this break up, right? First breakout. Now, this breakout, we see this inverse fair value gap, right? Followed by this big fair value gap and these little itty bitty micro fair value gaps, right? So what I do, I draw my OT, bottom of that breakout, top of the breakout, enter off this zone. I took this one off of the 0.705 just because, right, this 0.618 is right off this fair value gap, right? And we're doing a little bottom tick in here, right? First of all, we see this break. We see this inverse of this bearish fair value gap, right? When you see an inverse, right, an inverse price, it's likely it's going to go back into that inverse, right? So another thing, after this 0.618 is below this gap, right? I'm targeting like the next thing basically, because if this 0.618 gets filled, that means that this gap is now invalid, right? So I'm targeting this inverse, like this little inverse blocks within this 0.705, right? We get straight retracement down to there, get a 60-point stop loss, right? And then basically it's just target this external liquidity, and that internal liquidity lined right up with my -2 standard deviation from this 5-minute manipulation down. And that's that, and it went straight to profit, right? Now we're looking for this next 2 p.m. 4-hour candle open, right? Obviously not trying to force anything because I'm already up good on the day, right? Those two crazy good bottom ticks, and that one stop and profit, right? So what am I looking for? I'm looking for accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, right? So this 2 o'clock candle opens right, I'll mark it out for you, right here on this red line, right? So it comes out right here. We see, what do we see? We see this previous accumulation. So I'm looking for something to manipulate below that, right? We see this straight off open manipulation down below there. All right, now once we see our accumulation, we see our manipulation, right? We're looking for something to enter off of, right? Now, there's not really a good inverse gap right here to enter off of, right? So we see this first move, this first breakout go up. We do once again OTE, bottom of the range, or bottom of the breakout, top of the breakout range, right? We see once again this 0.618 is like, yes, there's this gap right here. It's already been partially filled. It gets fully filled here. It doesn't tap into our 0.618, so that's not really, that to me wasn't really like a super good entry, right? But if you look down a little bit, we have the 0.705, which is also a good OT entry, right? And it so happens to align right inside this gap very nicely for me. So what I do, comes right into this 0.705, enter right off that. Pretty sure I had a limit order at this 705 right after that one got barely tapped in. All right, and then yes, I did. I don't know why I said I'm pretty sure. Obviously, I know where my freaking order was. I enter off that 60-point or 30-point stop loss, just because once again that's that last gap, right? This 0.618, obviously it's below that gap. So if that gap gets inversed on the retrace, and that was the only gap, that would be that last internal liquidity that it'd be targeting to then break out to the upside again. So, but it's not. So this was the last one. So if it inverses this, basically you're cooked, right? So I just put my stop right below it, little 30-point stop, and then we basically rally up here, right? I was targeting these -2 zones. Oh my goodness. I gave it all from fantasy. I was targeting these -2 zones, which was around this this high up here in this this fair value gap in this high. That 18-hour candle. Maybe I'll get a trade in here. All right, hold on. I need to finish reviewing this trade. All right. So we get that OTE entry right off that. All right. We rally up. We see this huge huge, huge candle, just absolutely destroy the trade, right? And then I was like, holy frick, right? Holy frick, what the heck happened? So what I do is I didn't have my stop trailed, right? It was just at break even. So once I see that, I'm like, well, I guess it's break even or take profit from here. So I just let it ride up all the way until my close, and I closed out the trade like a minute before it closed, so like right out here. Now I guess I could do another example of my PU3, but I think I'm gonna cut this video and then take this trade, this hourly trade, or this 4 hour PO3 on a separate video. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out right here.